a landmark, straightforward event that would position businesses for growth and economic success. I want to thank all of you for finding time to attend. Beyond that, I know that you are all ready to take notes and listen to all the people that will be all here to speak. We're nearly approaching about 80% of the expected guests, and we believe that in a short while, some of them who probably just checked into their offices first before coming will join us. We are about to start. We would like to recognize the presence of some very distinguished guests that are here. We would like to recognize Dr. John or ASeM. Please let's give him a round of applause. On behalf of the Council and management, we welcome you. We recognize the presence of John O.T. Stevens, Deputy Director, Corporate Affairs Commission. We would like to recognize the presence of Fasoya Olawale, Director of SMIDA. Round of applause. Iyaluke Alabalosi, Vice President of NASIMA. We recognize the presence of Dan Alhaji Ibrahim, of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Zamfara State. You're welcome, sir. I would like to invite, I don't know if they're seated now, just to recognize them for their innocent Ohakwa, Director of Land Taxpayers, Department Federal Inland Revenues. Just before we get started, I'd like to recognize the presence of the Executive Director of Development, Nigerian Stock Exchange, Haruna Jallo Waziri. Please give him a round of applause. You're welcome. We recognize the presence of the ED, Market Operations Technology, at the Bachelor. Please give him a round of applause. You're welcome, sir. We would like to recognize the presence of the CEO of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Mr. Oscar Oyema. Please give him a round of applause. Today we'll be wearing two hats, and certainly the member of council is going to chair this event, and I'd like you to please welcome the Group Managing Director of ASeM, member of council, Mr. Ike Demople. Welcome, sir. We recognize the presence of Deputy Chairman of the House Committee on Capital Markets, Honorable Chris Emeka, as well. Please let's give him a round of applause. I'll be taking a lot more recognitions later, but for now I'd like to let you stand up and recognize our country with the national anthem. Sometimes it's not the business strategies that we have or the plans that we have that makes the business fail. It is the enabling environment that is absent. The catalyst for change, the catalyst for growth are all necessary indices for businesses to thrive, businesses to grow. Nigerian Stock Exchange is deemed it fit that for any business to grow, you need to start from the growth. And the platform of growth is what has brought us here, the emerging businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that those of you who are here are not only chosen, but you are the core of the new economy of this country. Welcome all of you, and in a short while we're going to go straight into why we brought you here. I have a lot more names to recognize, and I'll be collating those names, but the first thing I will do is to invite to make the opening remarks by the Council President of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Aliko Dangote, and here represented by Mr. Ivan Okwe. Please give him a round of applause.
Distinguished members of Council of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, representatives of trade groups and the public sector, and I see some sisters of mine here. Of course, members of the NSC, either in your individual capacity or on the institutional level, other capital market players, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the President of Council, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, it's a great pleasure to give opening remarks on this historic occasion. Alhaji Dangote himself sends his apologies. He had intended to be here in person, but at very short notice, at the last moment, he has had to leave for Abuja. Today, we are launching. There's something about exchanges. We like acronyms, so you have, ASeM. I'm getting used to it as one of the JJC members of council. But we're launching the alternative securities exchange market. And ASeM is essentially a transformation of what was hitherto known as a second-tier market. And the second-tier market, in its state before transformation, consisted of 11 companies with a market cap of 4 billion naira, and that market cap was a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the overall market cap. But when you recognize that the emerging entrepreneurial class, from maybe what you call the SME group of companies, is the bedrock of any developing country's economy. And you find that we, as Nigerians, have not created an enabling market structure for proper capital formation at that level of our economy. You will agree with me that up to this point in time, we have been starving the Nigerian economy of oxygen at probably its most important part. And what the stock exchange, Oscar and his team, and of course, supported by council, is doing, is that they are bringing access to SMEs, and as well as bringing access to investors to have the potential of investing in what would be the next Dangote or Nigeria's own Google. For me, three things are key. Three words: entrepreneurship, growth, and sustainability. And I believe that Oscar and other executives of the NSC will be telling us how the ASeM will ensure that these three characteristics, so to speak, or these three words resound in everything that is the ASeM. How will the ASeM work, to my mind? There was a gentleman, or there is a gentleman in this room who introduced me. His brand name is Ali Baba. For the benefit of those of us who are not from the part of the country he comes from. I will not tell you his proper name because you can't pronounce it. I would expect that in 2 years' time, you will have Alibaba PLC listed on the ASeM under the category comedy. And then progressively, perhaps, emerge as one of the giant entertainment businesses across Africa. That is essentially how this market will work. And the power of what is being launched today can be viewed practically from the perspective, say, of the organization I work for, which is Access Bank. We've been doing some strategic planning, and we actually, as a bank, have 450,000 active business accounts. They will have loans from the bank. They will continue to grow. They will make banks prosper. They will make their staff prosper. But how will Nigerians get a share of this huge emerging market of entrepreneurs, of which there are actually 17 million in Nigeria? And I think that the bold move that the NSC is launching today will assist us to achieve it. It is therefore no wonder that I see the investment bankers that I typically would see pursuing the big companies, whose eyes have opened that maybe the food is going to be at the more, not the large company segment alone, but also at the smaller company segment. Perhaps I should give you one case study, just one case study. Several years ago, there was a gentleman who traded in the regular items that, in Nigeria are traded: sugar, rice, salt, and so on. And at the time that he began banking, he was an SME to the banks that then existed. And this is just fact, it's not, and over time, this trading concern became more and more successful. Today, this trading concern has become the largest cap company in sub-Saharan Africa. I think it's simple, Dangote Industries Limited. And so today you see the giants, the company, the wealth created, and so on. And it starts from somewhere. And it is important that we begin to unlock the opportunities when they start, and we begin to support these SMEs, as they grow. So, Oscar, Council, members of the Stock Exchange, Nigeria is counting on you to make the alternative securities exchange market work, and I'm confident that history that is being recorded today will be for the benefit of all Nigerians. Enjoy the occasion, and God bless. Thank you.
As it is said, a car that is a V8 has a capacity of running faster than a car that is a V6. But both cars will remain where they are unless one of them has fuel or starts. The emerging market needs a drive. The emerging market needs to be pushed. The emerging market needs to be encouraged. And today, the man sitting in the position to help drive that through the Nigerian Stock Exchange is the CEO of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Please help me welcome Mr. Oscar ASeM. Give him a round of applause.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you today to the official launch or relaunch of the ASeM board of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Let me start by stating, as we say in Nigeria, that I will stand on existing protocol as established by the President of the Council of the Exchange. I'm going to give you a quick run-through of the key points about ASeM and what we are trying to achieve today. A quick definition of ASeM, an overview of the small, medium enterprises classifications as you have them around the world. Our previous attempts at supporting smaller enterprises and the key initiatives that we've introduced to actually make this effort a successful one. Where we are today, and if you do decide that listing on ASeM is for you, how you can go about doing that. And obviously, ASeM is listed on the exchange. ASeM is part of the exchange, so we'll give you a quick run-through of the exchange. So really, the objective is to present the alternative securities market of the Nigerian Stock Exchange as a veritable platform for emerging businesses to access capital in the Nigerian capital market. ASeM is a specialized board. We have two boards, the main board and the ASeM board, which we're relaunching today, that seeks to accommodate small and mid-sized companies with high growth potential. And these are companies we are calling emerging business. It seeks to address major challenges of emerging businesses in Nigeria. For instance, we know it is difficult to access long-term capital due to the high cost of funds as a result of the perceived high risk that companies in this category face. The informal nature of operations of these companies does not lend itself very well to accessing the kind of funds they need to move to the next level. Inadequate accounting standards, controls, and management of resources, and I will throw in the appropriate corporate governance as some of the things we've identified as holding back SMEs from actually getting the kind of capital they need to go to the next level in their evolution. So how do countries around the world classify small and medium enterprises? If you take Ghana, for example, from that table, you would notice that countries typically use the number of employees and turnover or value of assets. So in Ghana, if you have between 6 to 29 employees, then you would be classified as a small enterprise. Whereas if you had between 30 and 99, you would be a medium enterprise. In addition, if your turnover is in the $100,000 range, then you'll be a small enterprise versus $1 million for a medium-sized enterprise. In Nigeria, I believe the definition for small enterprises is between 10 to 49 employees with a net asset value of between $63,000 to $629,000. For medium enterprises, between 50 and 199, and with regards to total assets, between $629,000 to $6.29 million. The NSE has also added to that definition, which is typical of exchanges around the world, the idea of market capitalization. So we are saying that if your market cap is less than $150 million, then you're small cap. And if your market cap is between $150 million and $1 billion, you're mid cap. This would apply to companies that are listed on the exchange. That gives us very clear lines as to what would constitute the small and medium enterprise. Historically, there's been a lot of effort to help this category of companies to access capital. If you look at the capital markets, in the 1970s, we had the Indigenization Decree, we had the Nigerian Enterprises Promotion Act. In the 1980s, the exchange introduced the second-tier securities market, which the president spoke about earlier on. In the 1990s, we renamed it emerging markets without material change in what constitutes the soul of that board. In the 2000s, we attempted to rebrand it and introduce an element of private placements with ASeM and Pripex, which we discontinued in 2011 when this new management came on board. We felt that you needed to look at the soul of the business, create significant changes that would allow it to actually succeed. And that is what we are launching today. So this effort has been 2 years in the making. In the money market, we note that in the 50s, the Nigerian Industrial Bank attempted to do something for the smaller companies, incentives to maximize exploration of natural resources in the 80s, through to the current efforts of the CBN with regards to the Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises Development Fund. So what we're doing is really complementary to what the money market is doing, to provide access to the necessary capital that will allow small and medium enterprises grow into the giants of tomorrow. So what are the changes that we made to the soul of the board? We did some diagnostics. We spoke to companies that are currently listed on the ASeM board, and we spoke to prospect companies. And these are some of the things they told us: culture of non-compliance, unclear purpose and inferior perception, restriction on the amount of capital that could be raised, below average performance of companies, companies accessed only equity products from the market, no clear and specific rule to govern the board. And we decided to take some intervention measures. The first one, in order to address the culture of non-compliance, we introduced the concept of designated advisors to assist ASeM companies with meeting their post-listing standards, the post-listing standards of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. It is actually compulsory for any company that will be on the ASeM board to appoint a designated advisor. I believe we went through a rigorous selection process, and we've selected about 16 firms to act as designated advisors. That list is available on our website. We then looked at unclear purpose and inferior perception, and we said we needed to create a clearly defined brand identity for the ASeM board. And so the ASeM board has its own clearly defined brand, which you will be seeing as events unfold today and in the weeks to come. And then we looked at restriction on the amount of capital that could be raised. In the new listing standards that we put in place for ASeM, we did not put a cap on the amount of capital that you can raise. Below average performance of companies, we started looking at what can we do to help companies properly structure themselves, properly introduce the appropriate controls, processes, and procedures to address capital market provisions for small and medium enterprises, and advocacy for affordable fee regimes for ASeM companies by statutory organizations such as the Corporate Affairs Commission, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, because we do receive quite a number of complaints from existing companies and from prospect companies that once they get listed, everybody thinks they're now in the money and the taxes and every other thing starts flowing. So we are working with the various entities that oversee these various aspects to make sure that they have appropriate policies that are targeted to small and mid-cap companies. Today, on the ASeM board, we have 11 companies that are currently listed, spanning multiple sectors, with a market cap of 4.1 billion naira. You will see that 74% of market cap is on the ASeM board is in the oil and gas sector. That means there is opportunity for other sectors to really participate on this board. As you know, we have 12 industrial sector categories, and for only one sector to have 74 means that we have not really mined what is available in the small and medium enterprise. With regards to the performance of ASeM companies, we use the index to track performance from last year. Last year, companies in this category returned negative 1.62%. Year to date this year, they returned 1.71%, a 206% increase. An interesting thing to note is that small cap companies do not necessarily move in a correlated manner with medium and large cap companies. And when they move, they tend to have very significant moves. So I'm not surprised that you have a 206% increase over the 1 year. And it really provides, for the investors that are in this room, it provides an opportunity to diversify, right? We do know that the increase that you're seeing in the market at large from last year was driven by medium and large enterprises. But that doesn't mean that trend will continue forever. So small companies actually provide a means of diversification as you look to have a balanced portfolio. So today we're formally launching the NSE ASeM Index. This index is a market capitalization weighted index of all companies listed on ASeM. It is the equivalent of the NSE ASI, the All Shares Index, for the main board, but this one is tracking only companies that are listed on the ASeM board. There are currently 11 companies that constitute, I believe, about 28 issuing houses that are ordinary members of the exchange. We offer listing and trading in equities, bonds, and exchange-traded funds. Equity products account for about 10.55 trillion naira in market capitalization. Fixed income products, about 56 bonds, account for 5.89 trillion naira in market capitalization. One exchange-traded fund accounts for 872 billion naira. The exchange has been here since 1961. It was founded in 1960, but we started operations in 1961. We have 14 electronic trading floors around the country. So it's accessible to people from all over Nigeria. And our vision really is to become the gateway to African markets. We believe we'll be able to get there if we're able to launch the 5 products within 5 years that we've targeted for ourselves with a consolidated market capitalization of $1 trillion. We invite you, before I say that, you should be aware that getting to $1 trillion is going to be based on 5 major pillars, as outlined here: business development efforts, strong regulatory programs, 21st century technology strategies, growth enabling market structure, and fostering investor protection programs. All of this will be wrapped around our advocacy and market development effort. Because if the exchange transforms itself and the entire ecosystem is not transformed, we would not have succeeded. So I've already given you a snapshot of the market. This is a different view. Year to date, the equity market is up about 17.56%. Total market cap is at 16.44 trillion naira. This includes equities, bonds, and exchange-traded funds. There are several initiatives we've outlined for ourselves this year. You will see the ASeM launch on top of the list. So we're actually very happy that we're able to achieve this milestone today. We've already introduced or achieved other milestones earlier in the year. The issuers portal being a pertinent one. The issuers portal allows corporates such as yourself that have to file with the exchange to file in a secure, automated fashion, both your financial statements and corporate actions. We're very encouraged by the adoption of the issuers portal. I believe that about 83% of companies that have filed their financials this year have used the issuers portal. So we're very happy with that. If you need help from the exchange, this effort is supported by a dedicated team of professionals in our business development division that are focused on listings, sales and retention, and product management. This team stands ready to welcome you to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and we'll be very happy to support your efforts as you try to join the list of the next group of African champions. Thank you very much.
We're going to have a good platform for the growth of the emerging market. Please let's give the stock exchanges to There's something they say anyone who fails to plan is planning to fail. And as I invite the Director General of SMIDAN, Alhaji Muhammad Adada Umar, to come speak on the emerging business and going from small to large, I would like to say that he's going to be represented by the Director of Planning, Mr. Wale Fasanda. Please give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much. I will also stand on the existing protocol, and I'd like to apologize on behalf of my DG. He's supposed to be here, but there's a hearing with the National Assembly and he could not delegate that. So he has asked me to represent him and to congratulate the NSC for this effort-making event and to thank you for inviting us to speak at this event. We slightly modified the paper so that we can underscore the role the agency will play in the successful operation of ASeM. The outline of my paper is a very long thing, but I'll run through it. I'm not going to, I know we are behind time. Most of them, some of it has been touched by by the CEO of NSC, so I will not dwell too much on those ones. We all know how important the MSME is to when developing an economy like Nigeria. And the recent data provided by the National MSME Survey, which the agency did in collaboration with the Bureau of Statistics, and the recent one with the GIZ, revealed that we have 17.2 years straight for 617 MSMEs in Nigeria, with total employment put at 32,404,884. In this case, it means deliberate efforts has to be put in place to make sure that we grow this sector of the economy. And I think the launching of ASeM is in this direction. What is the situation like for MSMEs in Nigeria today? I've given you the figures. In terms of employment, as of 2010, the MSME sector generated 32.4 employment in the whole of the country. And between then and now, we're updating the records. We know that this has grown substantially. And the other, that shows the distribution by sector. We'll see that the agri sector and the real estate sector for now is about the highest in terms of contribution to GDP in the SME sector. I imagine businesses, or what we call small and growing business, I don't need to go too much into this. We all know the definition of emerging businesses. I think the CEO spoke about this. The current category in terms of SMEs for Nigeria, he gave the one for Ghana. Nigeria, micro is less than 10 employment, small 10 to 49, medium 50 to 199. And then in terms of asset base, less than 5 million. Diversification, expansion, investment, advanced technology, social responsibilities. When a company grows, these are some of the things that will give us indication that the company has moved from one level to the other. The last one of SMEs, we all know this. I don't need to dwell on this. From business idea to business plan, funding of the business, and then most times at development stage, most of them are stunted because they cannot access capital, including the ones that are imposed by the police while transporting your goods. Irregular and insecure local demand for MSME products, poor state of rural infrastructure, our averse to consuming what we made in Nigeria. Some of our products that are very good, most of us already have the idea of imported products are better than the local ones. Not usually the case. For equity, it's the same issue of sound business plan, good corporate governance, clear distinction between ownership and management, practical skill, necessary here. Then third-party loans and equity for SMEs is a tall order. It's been very difficult. What is the place of public equity in SMEs finance? I think the question is better answered after a look at the definition of SMEs vis-a-vis the second-tier listing. I'm giving the definition of SMEs by the current policy that is in vogue. Some of the listing conditions for second tier: registration as PLC, submission of 3-year financial records, very difficult for SMEs. Maximum amount that can be raised 100 million, 10. I'm glad all this is being passed. Not more than 100 shareholders allowed. 50% of share capital must be offered to the public, have yearly and annual reporting, and a host of other requirements. Only few from a large population of SMEs meet this condition. And some of them got delisted afterwards. The big question therefore, what hope does an ASeM offer to SMEs? And the CEO of NSC has gladly listed some of the benefits that SMEs will get from the new ASeM. So the ASeM listing conditions will perhaps be more relaxed. We've heard that it is more relaxed. There are two big questions to answer. How do we ensure that we have a more robust and very liquid ASeM? And how can the majority of the SMEs in Nigeria be helped to meet some of the inevitable listing conditions of ASeM? Answers to these questions are fairly straightforward. Effective partnership between NSC and other public and private sector institutions like SMEDA will solve this problem. The role of SMEDA in ASeM. The agency was established in 2003. We are going to be 10 years old this year. And some of the activities that we've been engaged in include sensitization and awareness creation, information gathering, dissemination, the establishment of business information centers. We have them scattered over the country. Establishment of business support centers. We are still establishing business support centers. So we go into states to partner states that are willing. But we are changing in our approach to the establishment of business support centers. As from next year, we are going to actually have business development centers located virtually in all the local government federations. Development of the BDS market. In terms of curriculum development, federation of curriculum, terminal education and training, accreditation of the business development service providers, and at times we bring in experts to train them so that we can be sure of what they will deliver to the SME community. Some of what we've been doing, we do mentoring. We have what we call business clinic, where people come in and then we diagnose their business problems. Promotion and facilitation of clusters, advocacy, policy review and implementation. Currently, we are launching a website where SMEs can go online to register and to generate a unique number for them, and we'll be able to monitor them. We are updating the recent survey on SMEs. There's a program that will be launched very soon, the National Enterprise Development Program. And I'm sure we're going to work with NSC to make sure that some of the people that are going to access funding, because this is a collaboration between the agency, Bank of Industry, and Industrial Training Fund, will be able to grow them up to the stage that they can get listed. The role of SMEDAN, when we facilitate capacity building, then the SMEs will tailor them to be able to meet up with the NSC requirements for listing. So development of SMEDAN information, mentoring, capacity building, talking about this. We are also, like I said, in the new policy, looking at definition of SMEs and to include other things that will make it easy for them to get listed on the stock exchange. In summary, SMEDAN's partnership pledge to NSC includes sensitization and awareness creation, facilitation of capacity building for SMEs to make sure that some of them meet up, facilitation, promotion of SME clusters and self-help groups that can be listed, advocacy, we're going to do a lot of this, collaboration with designated financial advisors, and growth ambassadors to fill perceived gaps. What lessons from other exchanges? National Stock Exchange of Australia, we have special focus on SME listing by encouraging regional exchanges. The London Stock Exchange developed a hosted web service for SMEs. Euronext launched free market service for SMEs, minimized listing requirements for SMEs. Conclusion, though overplayed, finance is still a critical resource for enterprise development. The capital market is a veritable source of medium and long-term funding and is an alternative to the money market. The awareness must be created, and we are pledging to assist NSC in this regard. Whilst SMEDAN works towards ensuring that more SMEs appreciate the relevance of the capital markets to their operations, the NSC must also ensure that the listing requirements for the ASeM are not too stringent. We've heard that some of the conditions are not stringent, the SMEs will be able to meet up. So apart from individual SMEs, the agency and NSC should also partner to ensure that some SME clusters are reorganized and refocused. The lessons of experience from the second-tier market should also be borne in mind to avoid same weaknesses in the proposed ASeM. In addition to this, move to improve the access of SMEs to public equity. The synergy between capital and money markets is essential for improved overall success and sustainability for the SMEs. Thank you for listening.
Would like to invite the moderator. The moderator is from CNBC, and he'll be helping us to marshal out the questions and coordinate the talk. Let's welcome Wally from Wally.
Thank you very much, Ali Baba. Good morning to everyone. We're going to go into what I hope should be an interesting discussion around SMEs. And I want to very quickly just invite the panelists. But first of all, I want to invite my co-moderator, is Executive Director for Business Development at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Please welcome with me, Haruna Jalo-Waziri. All right, so let me just run through the list very quickly, and then hopefully we'll have a very interactive discussion. I want to welcome to the stage Augustine Edet, who's the Executive Director at Nexen. Can you please make him feel very warmly welcome? And I'll just run through the list as it comes. I also welcome Emmanuel Oreta, Director at the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Mr. Olusegun Dada is the National Treasurer of NASI, that is the National Association for Small Scale Industries. Thank you very much. Is he here? Fantastic. John Oti Stevens is the Deputy Director at the Corporate Affairs Commission. Please, thank you very much. Jason Njoku, CEO, Iroko Partners. Very interesting story there. John Isemede is the DG Nasima. Thank you. All right, I think we have everyone here. So I want to actually get Charlotte to get things rolling. And I know you're the co-moderator for today, but I want you to, if you can, just wrap up for us activities that the NSC has been doing to support SMEs. I know I've done a story recently and you've had very interesting things to say.
Thank you, Wally. Once again, you're all welcome to this launch. This has been a 2-year story, like Oscar said earlier on, to get us to brand this particular board that we feel is very, very critical. One of the interesting things that happened last week was we were at the Smeden office trying to ensure that we get most of the people on the panel here into a technical committee that will look at from end to end how we can support SMEs from the regulatory perspective and from the SRO perspective. So I'm glad to say that we're going to set up a technical committee to look at the issues about taxation, the issues about fee payment at CAC, issues about things technically that affect or that can hinder SMEs or small cap companies from this. And I'm sure we'll hear from Iroko as well, maybe their own experiences and the rest of it. So I think we should just delve into it.
Right, fantastic. And if I can just start with you, Augustine. I also spoke with you recently, and I think you had a lot of interesting things to say about the interaction you're having with the stock exchange. Of course, part of the program that the ASeM will be running is a situation where we have designated advisors to more or less help these companies get used to life as sister companies. So can you just talk through the activities you're doing there?
Thank you very much, Wally. Basically, the director of the Director General of the Stock Exchange was talking about much earlier. He sets out the characteristics of most SMEs, which are quite obvious to most of us in this hall this morning. And one of the main problems that SMEs have is that they are outstructured, and because of that, they require certain internal changes to be able to make them amenable to listing on the stock exchange. And so basically we're partnering with the stock exchange to provide what we call institutional services, which is geared towards putting structure around these businesses, some what we call corporate governance, professional business management, as well as changing their internal business structures, processes, and systems to make them less risky and make them also a better place to access funds on a platform like the Nigerian Stock Exchange. That's basically what we're partnering with the Stock Exchange to do in this particular program.
All right, can you speak to some of the early results though? What have we achieved thus far? I imagine that at some point we should see some of these companies get listed on the Stock Exchange. Okay,
thus far we have had a workshop where we gathered some of the prospective businesses that can qualify for listing on the stock exchange, and this is going to be something that will happen every quarter. And subsequently, we visited these businesses to undertake what you call the business diagnostics. This is geared towards actually ascertaining the various issues that they have in terms of structure from top to bottom, corporate governance, strategic planning, and all that. And the next stage is to begin to close those gaps by launching and implementing some intervention services. For instance, some of the companies that were related, we do have boards of directors. But what we have seen in the process of diagnosing the businesses is that the boards are not organized. The boards are not professional boards. They don't attract the kind of confidence that you would see in a company listed on a stock exchange. And so for those kind of companies, we're going to assist them to restructure those boards and reposition the boards to be a lot more attractive to investors. This is basically where we are at the moment.
So, we have one of the panelists who we thought was not around, and that's why we didn't announce his name. Can we have Mr. Ehimene Oyoma? He's the Head Investment Provision Department of the National Pension Commission. To come on stage, please.
Shall we put our hands together for him? Hopefully we have very interesting things to say about what's that. Okay, he's right here.
Because we'd like to hear from the regulator of the biggest asset managers in the country as to what their plans are for the SMEs and the ASeM board as well.
Right. think they have some interesting plans. Okay, Jason, I know you will describe your company as an SME, at least for now. And so if you can just talk to us about your experience as an SME in Nigeria, the challenges that you're facing, and then hopefully maybe talk a bit about your aspirations to get listed on the stock exchange and the challenges you're seeing in that respect and the changes that you're seeing are possible in that respect too.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam. So we're a very young company. We're just over 2 years old. I came to Nigeria late 2010, go to 2011. And what we've actually seen is really rapid growth in a very short period of time. So from my best friend giving me his life savings to launch the company, and we're just under $100,000, to us having raised $13 million over the last 2 years. We've gone from like just one office in West Africa, Lagos, through to 4. So in New York, London, Johannesburg, we're opening up Nairobi here at the end of this year.
What is your business exactly? You can just describe that for the benefit of your audience.
So we take digital content, so Nigerian music and movies, and we just put it online and distribute it. And we've got about 130 people globally, just trying to figure out how to best monetize that. So you can just think African Magic just online. So we wouldn't exist without us giving the capital to actually exist in the first place. So building offices globally, building revenue and investing in revenue from a very early stage requires a lot of capital to be raised. Fortunately, we're able to have access to capital outside of Nigeria, so we've actually never raised any capital within Nigeria, and I think that's a big shift compared to bearing in mind that we are half the company is here in Lagos. So operating in Lagos is not the most easy thing to do, and as you can tell, it's born and bred in the UK. So just trying to understand the tax rules. We actually import a fair amount of Nigerians and people who are abroad bringing back to Nigeria. So there's like quotas that we have to adhere by. Importing goods like production equipment actually quite expensive, especially when you're trying to bring it through the airport. So for us, it's sometimes just understanding what the actual rules are and how they're changing without us having any more experience. So I think the key thing for us is without the access to capital in the first place, we'll never be in this situation. So for us, freeing the access to capital and the launch of the ASeM is just one of those best things to happen in a very long time for a very small company.
Having said that, listening to you, it's typically what I hear from most small cap companies that we call them on the exchange. Difficulties about how much information do you have in terms of the tax laws, the regulations, the requirements, and the processes that you need to establish certain things. And I think maybe that's why we have quite a lot of people around here from those particular representatives. But most importantly, I'd like to also hear from, now that we talked about the company, can we hear from the Pencomers to what they're doing regarding what I call two things to encourage, for example, in terms of writing regulations, how do you write them to focus towards developmental regulation without, taking out the risk elements involved in the PFA regulation, especially regarding, a particular point that I want to make. How do you get the PFAs to begin to mark to market, for example, their fixed income bonds, using, say, the price discovery at the Nigerian Stock Exchange using the retail bond, because that would also encourage, for example, if you set up the ASeM fixed income, section to encourage PFAs to begin to make those investments because they now qualify as a PFA investment.
Thank you. Apologies for coming in late. The way the regulations are presently, the way the regulations are currently, the companies to be listed under the ASeM ordinarily will fall below the radar for investments by pension funds. One, basically the issues of track record. Secondly, the PFAs have the primary responsibility to ensure safety of the funds on the management as well as enhancing returns to shareholders, to contributors. And also you also have the issues of corporate governance, which has been mentioned here. It's an important issue. We would maybe take a radical position. I think the private equity sub-segment of the financial system needs also to be developed. That we believe would focus on such SMEs with that are operating in growth in the potential, in the growth areas of the economy. And for the bonds, definitely the bonds would have to be marked to market, you know, and we are already putting in place structures to ensure that is done. That may not be immediate because we're looking at the effect such measures will have on contributors. We did a study sometime last year in trying to cut over to the International Financial Reporting Standards. And what we realized, if the bonds are going to be marked to market, the contributors are going to take some hits, which we believe for a mandatory contributory pension scheme, which we currently run, that may not be falling to members. But definitely in the next couple of years, we definitely have to cut over and mark bonds, value them based on mark-to-market valuation basis. We are open to suggestions how pension funds could be directed to, such small and medium-sized scale companies.
You just said the right thing I wanted to hear, that you're willing to open to discussions as to how they be guided. I think
we're open to.
We'll probably incorporate it into that technical committee to see how we can make these things a lot better.
And in fact, if I can just add a point there, because I do know that the PECOM has already done some of those revisions that is more progressive for investment in private equity. And if we can consider companies like these as maybe early stage companies, then I want to imagine that there should be some provisions for companies that are emerging companies on the ASeM.
That's what I said earlier, that would expect the private equity fund managers to invest in such companies, while the PFAs would invest in the private equity funds, but not directly into such funds. Would expect the P managers with pension funds are invested.
So you rather invest in the private equity fund as opposed to directly in the companies.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we should, next question, maybe we should have the CAC about pricing and what they're doing.
Right, I think that's a very good point. The CSA can get your contributions on this point. The issues around people registering companies, small businesses. The issues around registering small businesses, the CSA.
Are you thinking about discounts for the SMEs, or do you have any plan for them, or do you think it's something that can be looked at in the future? Because one of the complaints we get from the SMEs is, look, if I go to the CAC and I have to raise my capital to 200, I have to pay X percentage of it, and I don't have that kind of capital to do it before I even come to the market. Are there ways you can help, or are you thinking about doing such things to kind of like, give them some kind of breaks or timeline to deal with or something?
Yes, it's very possible, through collaboration with fellow regulators to have some surveillance in terms of rates for MEs. The big banks, recently had some surveillance, about 75%, was yielded through collaboration with the Minister of Trade and Investment. Why not? For MEs, which everybody should be concerned about, so to get some surveillance of rates. Then beyond that, the process for incorporation registration and simplified very significantly. Our two Lagos offices, Yaba and Alausa, have more or less replicate the Abuja office now, as far as pre-incorporation activities is concerned.
contribution from the gentleman from NACI. If you can speak to developments around how you're supporting the growth of small businesses as well.
Okay, I would like to start this way. We are actually in the real sector. There's the Nigerian Association of Small Scale Industrialists. Most of the small businesses, manufacturers are actually all in NACI. We have over 100,000 members on ground now, and we're seeking to increase that more. But before I go into that, the issues actually go beyond, like the director from SMEDA said, goes beyond the issue of finance. The truth is finance is not the greatest problem, and even though it's a major problem. And you see, I'll give myself as an example. I left a paid business sometime in 2005. I started my business. I decided not to go back to paid employment. I started with a a small scale manufacturing business. And what drove me to NACI was that I was looking for protection from so much levies, taxation, and what have you. I actually believe that then NACI will help protect me from all these unscrupulous levies and so forth. We have so many levies that you don't know about. I know one in Abuja by the Abuja Environmental Protection Board called Solid Waste Disposal, and they give a small business that the profit will not even be up to 200,000. They give you a bill of 120,000 a year to pay. And you see, I was actually focused on the part of the presentation by the DG where they talked about advocacies and engaging regulatory agencies like FIRS and what have you. If this must succeed, we need to really engage with them. What you see, as much as we can attract, like I told a friend of mine, there are a lot of liquidity in the system, so many people are looking for where to invest their money. But if I'm an investor, I won't take my money, I won't bring my money to a company where I know that half or more than half of the profit will be taken over by levies, taxes, and what have you. For me, I want to believe that that should be a major focus of the ASeM, getting to engage with regulatory agencies and what have you to bring down the cost of doing business in this environment, right? And just to round up, I want to believe, I'm a member of I'm the National Treasurer of a business membership organization, and so many of these organizations around where I recognize member of the organized private sector. We need to engage people that know these people, that are there, they are on ground, they know where the shoe pinches. So that, because you need all this information to make the ASeM work.
Okay, so we have somebody from the FIRS here, and hopefully he can.
I told somebody
that conversation.
Okay, to the FIRS, I told somebody recently, I don't see any reason why we can't have a more progressive tax system in Nigeria, where you have a different tax regime for both large and small-scale businesses in Nigeria.
Is that a reasonable proposition?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, you need to understand the structure of the tax system within the country. Tax is basically a legal thing. I mean, there are statutes, there are laws that guides taxation in the country, and laws are stipulated. Until some of these legislations are changed or amended, what the law says is what we implement. And then based on that, we also need to understand that the structure, like I was saying, there are some federal taxes. I mean, there are taxes, and then there are levies. Now, but however, from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, what we have started doing, there is a collaboration of all tax revenue authorities in the country. All the state revenue authorities, in addition to the Federal Inland Revenue Service, makes up the joint tax board. There are regular meetings and interface between those organizations and to decide and adjudicate on different areas of taxation. There's currently...
Is there a voice for the SMEs in that discussion. That's probably what we need to organize here.
No, I'll come to that. Looking at the issue of multiplicity of taxes, there's a committee that's already set up to look at the various aspects of it to find a way of streamlining the taxes and levies. But for the SMEs, for instance, based on the structure adopted presently, we have the large tax offices that focuses mainly on the large corporates. We have the medium tax office, and then we also have the individual tax offices across the country. In other words, we have classified our operations based on the different kinds of taxpayers we have to be able to serve them, to be able to meet their needs, and to be able to solve their problems across the country. So, and then we are also open to discussions on different areas of how we will be able to provide more efficient services for our attending their needs.
But I imagine that these discussions have been on for a while. So I think a lot of people want to hear the likely outcomes. What could change, for instance, for SMEs? What can we anticipate?
What we would like, that's why I said there are laws. Once you are a limited liability.
Do we need to now make recommendations for law changes? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, definitely, except the law changes, then what the law stipulates is what we buy. For instance, the law says for a limited liability company, after a year of operation, your company income tax is a fixed percentage of your income, and it cannot change. Whether you're a small-scale enterprise or you're a large-scale enterprise, that is what the law says. We all abide by the law. Until there are amendments to classify or to recognize different classifications, then that's what happens.
Thank you. Again, I'd like to hear the word that we're open to discussions because we are beginning to open those discussions. We believe that the ASeM should be in the forefront of capital raising and driving the process of change in terms of how companies get access to capital. Because in every country that that has industrialized, the industrialization comes from small companies growing to the big ones. And we need to get there as soon as possible. Having said that, I think we'll bring in ASeM, gentleman, Mr. John ASeM, I think if I'm correct, to give us perspective from your own end in terms of what you think needs to be done to encourage companies and companies like that to market this certification or to access capital.
Thank you very much. I'm not hearing this from you for the first time. And if we have to go back to history, the giants of today started as SME. They started as family businesses. And the policies of government at that time was good enough for us to compete both locally and internationally. 2-3 weeks ago, a young man was in my office. The first question I asked him, the office is too small for this type of discussion. And I'm putting it to you again that this hall is too small for this type of discussion because I have members across this country, those are clients who are members of the organized private sector.
Just to clarify, can you just explain what who ASeM represents?
ASeM represents a wider society, both locally and internationally. For you to do business, local and international, it is the business of ASeM because we are the only body recognized by the United Nations to issue both certificate of origin and movement certificate. And if you look at the SME today in Nigeria is what we call a dangerous species. You cannot put us on the same platform with the superpowers and the multinationals. And how do we compete locally and internationally? Is for the banking sector to look at our own direction. They are people who started their own businesses from their own bedroom or city room. There could be family businesses and all that. What we need is the support. First, the financial support and the market. If we have the support, why the boost from 10,000 kilometers out of our shores compete with us in this market? One advice I want to put forward is that how do we now develop the capacity of our members? That is the area of collaboration we should be looking at.
I think that's part of what the NSC is doing.
You can use your certificate to approach a bank. And before we can do this, and now we are talking of ITC and all that, we need to move to the next platform by developing the capacity of our members. It's not just coming to talk what they are doing this thing. Even if you give all the financial support, there are other things. For instance, the issue of taxation and all that are there. And if you go to the bank to ask for credit and all that, the type of condition and the session period is not good enough for the small and medium scale. And we are taking loans at 2-3% in the other parts of the world, and the MPR is about 12%. By the time you calculate everything,
conversation with the perhaps the central bank and the bankers?
Yeah, I think you made the right point, you've seen the right points. So, like I keep telling people, it's better you start a conversation now and then take it to where it should be rather than starting a conversation as well. Secondly, like we say, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. We have launched ASeM. This is the beginning of what the things that we can or can go forward. And surely we'll keep bringing you people into discussions on how we can improve this market on a day-to-day basis. Thank you very much.
Mr. Moderator, I want to bring some people into this conversation.
Absolutely.
Do I have questions on the floor? Okay. So, can I get the microphone? Can I get the microphone? Okay, just a minute. I have one. Right. Fair. He's already standing. Let's make the questions brief so we can take as many questions. Many hands are up. And then the panelists will address all of them. This is what we'll do. Panelists, yes, sirs.
Hello?
Hold on.
Hello?
I thought Dr. Jassy. Alright, now, we're going to, sir, just before you start, we're going to take all the questions. So, the panelists, please just take note of the moderator, please also help. We'll take all the questions now.
If you can just indicate who you are directing your question to, that will help.
Okay.
And introduce yourself before you go ahead. Thank you.
My name is Victor Omoyi. I'm AD of Partnership Investment, one of the designated advisors. First of all, let me tell the ASeM person that the whole idea of this is not banks. The businesses should begin to look away from banks, funding them to the capital market. That is the whole essence of this. If you are looking for cheaper funds, this is where you should come, not banks. I noticed I kept saying that banks don't look your way. Forget about banks for now. This market should provide you the money. There are so many people out there who have small money to invest, and they will invest in this market and will fund their companies. Now, my question to the pension, the man from PEPCOM, you have just said that you have not allowed market of your assets for your PFAs because you believe that they will shock the contributors. But you see, I don't see why you want to have a different standard for your PFAs and another one for the companies that you invest in. Market is now something that everybody has to do. The reason for this is that it would encourage them to look the way of equities, because one of the things they thought was that buying a bond, you could just keep it and nothing happens. And therefore, they all shy away from the market where there were plenty of opportunities for them to go into the equities market. I believe that it is time to let them know that they need to mark their books to the market. Let us see what losses they have. Maybe that will encourage them to come to the equities market to make sure that they buy equities, because at the end of the day, the pension is a long-term thing. There are very many people here who are contributing who are in their 40s and in their 30s. They would like to see their money grow. So please, I think you should take note of that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Can I? No. Now I want to take ladies. These women, take two ladies for me. The panelists are all men, and the ladies they have their questions. Because all of women are SMEs on their own.
Thank you very much, mine is not a question, it really is a comment. My name is Ifima Bujuje. I'm a vice president of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. My comment is I look at this role of men and wonder that so women have nothing to contribute to this conversation. Florence Seriki is sitting to my right, Indie is sitting to my left. Yano, the president of the Chamber of Commerce, was also here. And the moderator said, let's start a conversation now. So let's start the conversation and do it right, please.
Oh, madam, that was why I gave you the microphone. Emma, really. Okay, another woman, though. Here, there's a lady here. Okay, there's a lady with a microphone already, so walk over to this one. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Allen, Vice firm is contracted for the first ever review of the National MSME policy. It was actually a continuation of exactly what Toki said. 83% of women don't have access to financial services, and yet we're 49%, give or take half of the population. I just don't think it's still female-friendly enough. We're actually a much safer bet. Thank you.
Okay. Any more women's questions? Yeah, today I'm going to get in for that, you know. No.
Vice President, Chamber of Commerce. I was going to say caution first, but my question is, the MC, you talk about packaging, having your idea, and you have to go to big people, professionals, asking for funds or even ideas, but you have your original projects. What is the Nigerian Stock Exchange giving us? SME, people seizing our projects from us, most especially women. They will tell you, oh, it's a very bright idea. Let's get professionals to do it for you, and we'll get in touch with you. It's so lucky one day you're sitting down in your sitting room and you will see that same project being launched at somewhere, and you will not be aware of it. So please, I just want to know what step are they giving us on that.
All right. Where's the man from Commission?
Should we take some responses now?
No, not yet. Trade Commission, the people who register trade, patents, and all that. Anyone on the panel?
I'm afraid it's not a related question, but it is a question. So Yvonne from the Nigerian Stock Exchange. This pertains to the conversation about taxes. I think I'll direct this to FIRS. Is there one place that a small business owner can go to get a comprehensive list of all the taxes that small business is required to pay? And if you could share that information with us, that would be great. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's start responding before we take more so that we don't forget the things that have been asked. Because growing up, I remember it was my mom that remembered every birthday and every bank account or every money that was kept anywhere. So apologies for not having any woman here on the table. We invited a few, if I'm correct, a few council last minute, so we had to readjust the table. But there were supposed to be some women represented on the table. I think two, if I was correct. The issue that addresses, I think, the issue about the representation of women. And you're right, 49% of our population are women. They lack access to credit. These are issues that we will deal with on an ongoing basis as a nation. Because also there are some statistics that have shown that the most reliable people that actually pay back credit are actually women. So when people are dealing with microcredits, and I can see maybe they're nodding ahead, certain things have to be put in place to allow women to begin to access those microcredits. At some point, we would form that discussion with the right partners as it is. There's a question about taxes, I think, that I'll ask the FIRS man to please respond.
Just to clarify, we were looking for a list of tax, a place where you can see a list of all the taxes that SMEs are required to pay.
Yeah. If you go to the website,
That's all right. The website is, I think the website is correct, hopefully.
If you go to the FIRS website, as I was speaking, you'll get all the list of taxes that you're supposed to pay as a limited liability company in the country. It states it very clearly, your company income tax, depending on the kind of business you're into. If you're not into the oil sector, you don't pay the petroleum profit tax. Then you have your income tax as an individual for your staff, and then all the whole list of it are on the website.
But I think I Okay, so again to that.
Like she's talking about double taxation.
All the taxes from the federal level to the state level to the local government, because then that would help a small business understand which taxes are quote unquote legal versus at one's discretion.
Yeah, you're right. You also need to understand that based on our constitution and our law, levies are the prerogative of the local government authority. And then they are autonomous up to a point. But what we are trying to do presently, like I said, the Committee on the Multiplicity of Taxes, is to streamline these levies that are being collected by the various local governments through the various state revenue authorities, so that there will be proper streamlining, so that it doesn't create problems. There are different issues moving goods from one state to the other, at every border, at every crossroad, different authorities and different local governments try to collect different levies. That's what we're trying to streamline. And as I'm speaking right now, a body has already been set up by the federal government and the JTB who are looking into that to streamline those issues.
Right, but if you ask me, I think perhaps the things that are under your jurisdiction are federal taxes. And so it may make a little more sense if the trade groups, for instance, are the ones that would confirm these issues, if you ask me.
It's not federal taxes, so what they're talking about, the state taxes, all of them. And like Patutomi rightly put it, a lot of all those levies are taxes in waistcoats.
So the point I'm making is that the FIRS will only have jurisdiction over the taxes that they control. So perhaps somebody else needs to bring all the taxes together.
We played it advantageous for the chairman of Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Right.
He's also the chairman of the Joint Tax Board that oversees the entire taxation across the state authorities.
So ideally, you should know all the taxes.
Not that we're in control of all the taxes, but we might be in a position to make input to some of those issues.
Okay. Okay. Next question.
There's a question about the income where you said they have to mark to market or whatever. Yeah, let's get that.
Thank you, Mr. President. After the aftermath of the global financial crisis, most countries, the pension and the insurance industries have not started implementing IFRS. You could go check that. And I didn't say we're not going to market the bonds. All other securities are marked to market except the bonds. And before now, you would agree with me that there's really nowhere we could get the actual fair values of the various bonds. It's just developing recently, and until we'll see, we could get reliable information that this is the market price, just like you have on the NSE for equities, for the bonds, we won't do that. And we also have to know that is not the reason why PFAs are not investing in equities. It's still also an issue of confidence. We all remember what happened in the recent past. The PFA is just like any institutional investor, is chasing after returns, yields. The bonds too, they are bonds that are long-term, and they're investing in them. So it's not got to do with, because of the issue of mark-to-market, it's actually got to do with having reliable information on the correct prices for those bonds on a day-to-day basis, as well as the fact that only very negligible number of countries are implementing IFRS for the pension and insurance industry worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I just want to clarify something, or just maybe inform you, and I think maybe this commission also take it further. You're aware that Nigerian Stock Exchange has launched its fixed income trading for market making as well. So today, on a daily basis, all the bonds that are listed on Nigerian Stock Exchange, where they're traded, you will see the closing price of the day or whatever price at the end transaction as well. So what we're saying is we should start opening the conversation of saying, now we have a price discovery that is actually real based on demand and supply. And we have market makers who are out there which, actually helping being the liquidity of, being provider of liquidity. So all of these structures are now in place. The only thing missing, and I think this conversation will take it further, is that if you begin to ask the PFS to say, look, I want to do the valuation of your bond, where else can I get the pricing that is reflective of market demand? The NSE has provided that platform. The day you begin to ask them to market their bonds, because the price discovery is very transparent, then you start having more activity. Then you are reflecting the true value of those particular portfolios rather than keep them as hold to maturity, because they trade them. And under IFRS, you trade it, you can't hold it to maturity, you have to now put it into a staying or tainted book. But having said that, thank you very much. We'll take that question.
All right. The question from the lady, they said the women who have problems with ideas being stolen from pre-incubation, incubation, and post-incubation.
Excellent. Today we have appointed 16 designated advisors. Now, these advisors are actually members of Nigerian Stock Exchange, so they are leading members of Nigerian Stock Exchange. A careful process, transparent and careful process was put in place to select the 16 advisors. I'm certain if you work with any of those 16 advisors, and by the way, they are regulated by us. We're certain that if you engage any of these particular 16 advisors, it's highly unlikely that you see a replica of your business plan with somebody else, unless you also replicate it from somebody else, which I doubt. However, I also want to reiterate, and I think the CEO forgot to say that, for the first 1 year, the service of the designated advisors I believe is free. So take advantage of that, and then you can be able to ensure that the services you are getting are first class, and they are regulated, so they're not just outside there. And we'll review their performances every 6 months to see whether they're meeting the standards.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes. They clap for that free one.
I think there's a question to Nasima as well. Yeah, that's it.
The question from Nasima? Okay, we're taking those questions. Now, what we're going to do, please, you're going to pardon me, we're running behind time. We need to do the launch, we need to do the unveiling. So I'm going to just say, let's take 4 more questions, 2 ladies and 2 men, but 3 ladies and 1 man. You know I was kidding. All right. 2 ladies and 2 guys.
Yes. My question is to the FIRS. My name is Martin Sawo-Fisayo from Abbotsfield Industries Limited.
From
Abbotsfield Industries Limited. FIRS, don't take note of that name yet. Because my question is straight to you. We are one of the recently ranked company in Nigeria, the Fast Growth 50, by the All World Network and the Tony Elumelu Foundation. But let me ask this question, and the NSE should note this. Whatever we have come here to do today, I want us to take note that FIRs can truncate it and can become a clog in the wheel of progress. Okay? If, because you have been dodging some questions, and I know you are going to talk, you may not have the power to change, but this tax regime, there is no way we can classify SME as multinational. And if you don't have this tax regime for this classification of companies, SME, enterprises, and so on, and you still use the same yardstick to tax, people will start to declare their turnover. 1% of 1 million is not the same as 5% of 100 million. And that is the way the tax regime should be. It should be more friendly and humane. If you do not, and I want NSE to engage the government on this, if you want to encourage SME to come on board on this product, what is driving a lot of us away is because of the taxation. Even for the onward fast growth, a lot of people were saying, hey, if they see the names and the next thing, you will see guns and soldiers in your offices, trying to come and check your books and so on. If all SMEs are interested in declaring their turnover as it is, but because of the tax regime is not encouraging us, we want you to do something about this. And for this product we have come to launch here today to be successful, that has to be done. And if it is not done, you will not see a lot of us coming on board. And that is what has been driving us away.
Thank you.
My name is Adani Alabi, FFDA Securities, where the security advisor. The last speaker actually said, I want you to do something about this. What I'm advocating is a tax holiday. Yes.
Okay.
As they
For startup?
Yes, for startup. So that they can at least crawl and walk thereafter.
All right. Do I have any other lady? Okay.
I'm not telling you.
No, but I understand.
I hope you can see clearly from there.
I try.
My name is Dan Desai. I'm here representing TKL Maestro, Nigeria Limited. And I just want to mention that the NSC has done something very good. It's a very laudable initiative. I think it's a step in the right direction. And this is supposed to act as a catalyst for all the various agencies, some of them represented on the panel table there, to take us in the right direction. But having mentioned all the various things people have mentioned, NACIMA, tax issues, PFAs, whether they invest in us or invest in something that will invest in us, and all that, what I want us to take away from here is this: what exactly are we going to live here with after all these very lovely explanations? How taxes are statutory, the law says we should do them, so we have to do them now. We know all that. But saying, when all of us live here today, what exactly are we taking away? What is the forum, or what are the methods by which we're going to move this from this point to completion? Many times we go for this kind of functions, and we speak very nicely, brilliant ideas. Nigerians are very intelligent, and we come up with all the lovely explanations, and we go back to our offices. We'll probably meet again 2-3 months at another conference, and we will say all these things all over again. I've been doing business for 23 years, and I've not heard anything new in all I've said today. What are we taking away from here for us to know that after all these explanations and this beautiful launch, what is the next step? How are we taking this to completion?
Hello, thank you, sir. Just before you come on, the thing is that what this event is about has been outlined and discussed by the CEO. I don't know whether you came in early, and he had mentioned what all of this is about and the process through which it will take it to fruition. And Jalo, no, let Jalo weigh in on that, please.
Let me start. Clearly, like Andrew said, I'm not sure maybe you caught the what's it called, the presentation by the CEO or even the president, the representative of the president, as to why we're here. But let me just add to the question about we sit down the panel and discuss and nothing happens. Let me reassure you something. Today, there's a new Nigerian stock exchange. It's been in transformation for the last 2 years, and it's going to be in transformation for the next 4 years. So we have not outlined things we say we're not going to do, and we didn't do it so far. And we have outlined what we say we're going to do this year. It's part of the CEO's presentation. And already, we've started seeing some green lights into what we say we're going to do, which we're doing. So when I said that we have sat down with Sweden and we're incorporating most of the people that are sitting down here in creating a technical committee that will define how we can assist small cap companies to get listed on the exchange, which includes suggestions that were made about how can we get them tax breaks, how can we get a fund to actually pay for fees that are required for them to get listed, what structure of the fund should it look like, who is going to provide that funding. All of those things are on the proposal or agenda that we put in place. And I assure you, when next you come to an ASeM conference, you will see the result of that particular committee. Thank you very much.
All right.
My name is Sheikh Bawala from Davis Group. I think it's time to declare amnesty for SMEs. As a matter of fact, my question is, who is interested in SMEs? Is it NSC, is it the operators, or the government? If you ask yourself, ask ourselves, if it is the government that needs the outcome of SMEs to drive this economy, then all what we are saying from the panel here should be one voice. What the taxman is saying, he's talking laws, he's talking statutes and whatever. NSC has started with a very wonderful note with this ASeM. I think others should borrow a bit from this and go back to the drawing board and work on this to help this country. The government is interested in the outcome of SMEs to turn this economy. And if that is the case, you should come here and just have one simple package, and we are off. Thank you.
Thank you. Just before the weigh in on that, I'd like to say that the way the economy is in Nigeria now, we need multiple platforms of intervention. And this is one of such. It is not, we cannot solely take one way approach to tackle the kind of problems we have in our economy right now. But I'd like the moderators to weigh in on that as well.
It looks like most of the questions are actually directed towards taxes, but I'll try and respond to them. I said most of not yours. Like I said again, we started this program and it's been long running for 2 years. We've just launched it. Most things are going to happen after the launch of the ASeM. The number one thing we're always going to be in the front is advocacy and also inviting companies to get listed, one before the other or simultaneously. Now, part of the advocacy I earlier mentioned is that we're engaging most people on this table so that we can speak with one voice, because we all have that intent of making the SMEs grow. And now how we do it has been, been individually done by socials or by trade groups and so on. So what we're trying to do, I think Franklin is here, is driving that process in terms of how we set up that technical committee and invite the people that are going to be relevant in making those decisions. But the issue is, if we speak with one voice and go to the bodies that are required to make these changes, I believe we will succeed in doing that. So advocacy is number one for us when it comes to the ASeM board and ASeM issues that have to do with that. Having said that, I don't know whether there are any new things you want to say about the questions that you said.
I just wanted to respond to one or two things he said. My friend says that FIRS can torpedo the whole arrangement. I think there's a misconception here. We're all partners in progress. I think there's a misunderstanding. Basically, what do we do? What is the essence of taxation in the first instance? Is to get money for the government to provide the required infrastructure that is required.
Like electricity.
We are not working across purposes here. Hang on, please. I think I need to make that.
Excuse me, Your Excellency, the panelists, you guys have asked your question. The panelists, sir, go ahead, they understand.
Yeah, so please, except we are saying, because somebody said declare a tax holiday for all the SMEs. Let's step back a little bit. Based on the presentation we listened to, there are 17 million SMEs operational between a turnover of 0 to 100 million in a year. So what you're saying is that the government should say that this SME, 17 million of all of them, should not pay taxes in a year. Hang on, please. This is a discussion, it's a conversation we're having. In which area and which part of the world has that been done? Now, if you're talking about the scope of these SMEs, 30% or 40% of your income after your cost of doing business has been excluded is what the government is requiring as your company income tax. So it does not matter if your profit is ₦1 billion or your profit is 100 naira. After your cost of doing business, you are supposed to make a mandatory contribution to the development of Nigeria and to continue provision of the required infrastructure for you to function as an organization. That is all we are saying. So if SMEs require some basic infrastructure that are supposed to be provided by the government, roads, transportation, and all that, and yes, you need to make some minimum contribution to the continued provision of this infrastructure, because that is the only way the government will get money. We have oil, and then we are also aware about the position of oil across the whole world. Oil is a depleting resource, is a depleting asset that over time, over the years, could run out. And if oil runs out, the only available source of revenue for the government to continue providing the infrastructure we require in this country is taxation. So we need to also have an open and frank discussion with regards to taxation. And the frank truth, even in terms of compliance, but let's not go to that. Now, however, I have one of my colleagues here also who is a director of large tax department, Mr. Okawa. I don't know whether he wants to say one.
He has to say something. This tax thing is serious.
Thank you very much. So let me clear the indulgence of the
panelists.
And the panelists.
As we go to the sub-panelists.
Thank you very much. Really, it's an interesting one. I just want to anchor that there is also a small taxpayers rate, which is 20%. We also have provisions for tax-free holidays. The Industrial Development Income Tax Relief Act 1972 recognized that companies that are still, starting can apply for a tax-free holidays and 3 years in the first instance, and then 2 additional years. Again, they are also exempted from minimum tax when they are under 4 years period. Losses incurred will also be carried forward. So there are a lot of incentives that are currently covered in the subsisting law. With the time nature, perhaps my boss, as part of the panelists, he just wanted to cut it short. We as public servants, we don't change the law, we don't make law. That's why he was hampering the law. Does not mean that discussions on peculiar incentives are not ongoing. They are already in existence, but as a public servant, you will stand by the law until when such proposals are made to the National Assembly, and National Assembly, changes. Even Minister of Finance have been issuing out a lot of, guidelines, regulations that are in favor of economic development. So small-scale industrialists are really not forgotten. They are anchor of the basis, and the belief of the tax authorities that when they grow, then they will add more into the basket. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Wally, I think it's running out of time.
Yes. Yes, we are. And it will be good to have the final word from all the panelists. If you can start from the very
Thank you very much.
We want to give it to one minute. So that
this is the beginning of so many things to come. Because if we are focusing on the SMEs, these are people below the ladder. So we have a long way to go. That is to develop the capacity of our people to join the queue. The market women, the artisans, the drivers, and all that, these people are grouped as the SMEs, which are the drivers of the economy. Because 70% of the economy of this country rests on the SME. We are talking of transformation, and we are talking of dragging a wider net. And the only way to bring them on board is for you to come closer to NASIMA and the OPS so that we continue in the development. Otherwise, we'll be talking to the wrong people. Thank you.
So as an SME, I think from my perspective, it's really simple. It's not a tax issue, it's more just can you even start issue. We recently invested, another company I've recently invested in 13 different internet companies this year, and the biggest company for us was just registering the companies. The 13 different companies took us over a month to do so. In the end, we couldn't do it ourselves, we had to hire an in-house guy to do so. There were secret costs which a lot of people previously wouldn't be able to absorb, so they wouldn't even register in the first place, and they'll never get to the stage of at least being able to list of an exchange. So I think the clear thing is just the conversations need to be had, and we need to engage the SMEs on this whole panel. It's not just me as an SME. If you engage us, ask us what problems we're having, then at least we can at least add a voice to that overall discussion.
All right, so the engagement needs to continue, and something for the CSA to think about to make things easy for companies to register.
On my own part, as a representative of a business membership organization at NASI, we're part of the solution-seeking mechanism, and we want to commend the Nigerian Stock Exchange for this initiative. It is long overdue, and we have a dynamic leadership in place now in NASI. We've already seen where the shoe pinches. We are putting so many things in place to make sure we collaborate with progressive looking organizations like NSC to make sure that all these things are sorted out. And for one of those people that asked that question about are we going to take anything away from here, I want to assure you that definitely we are not members of the NSC. We are actually outside of the NSC, and we are going to seek ways of making sure that we collaborate with the NSC to make this a huge success that it deserves. It will be too much emphasizing the fact that without SMEs in Nigeria, we are just beating around the bush. We can never make progress in this country. Nancy is here. I want to tell you something about Nancy. Sorry, just a minute. And I want to tell you something about Nancy. We are already putting up a mechanism in Nancy that makes sure that we become a sort of protection for our members in terms of the issues of levies and multiple taxations. Anywhere you go, once you are a member of Nancy, we already have representatives in each local government that takes care of your interest. So we are dealing with the issue of multiple taxation, multiple levies, and again, we already have an MOU with Fortman that takes care of the issue of credit and assessing credit at single digit interest. Thank you very much.
Really have to work on advisor.
I think the comment I'd like to make, the issue of taxes has kind of hijacked the narrative of today's event. This event is not really about taxes as such. I know that it's a concern for most SMEs. It's my concern as well as a business advisor. But what I can tell you is this. You're allowed, I know that the FIRS might not like this, but from the legal point of view, you're allowed to organize your affairs in a manner as to reduce your tax burden. And the emphasis is on legally, if you do so legally. And one of the most critical things that we have seen in this new ASeM market is that you now have access to very seasoned advisors who will teach you exactly how to manage your company, run your board, and then provide you the sort of guidance that you need to position your company in such a manner as to probably reduce your tax burden a little bit. And this is why I believe that this is an initiative whose time has come and should be supported wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Augustine. From the taxman,
yes,
final word.
I will first of all say congratulations to NSC for this bold initiative, commendable as it is, and to assure you that we're partners in progress. We are in every form and every shape, partners in progress, and we will work towards creating a tax-friendly environment that will jumpstart investment and will jumpstart all manner of entrepreneurship, and that will lead to the development of this country, because that is what we are after, and that's what we're working with. Thank you.
Thank you very much. From CSC?
Yes, it's a very commendable initiative, the ASeM initiative. The role of the DAs, the digital advisors, is very critical. They are regulators, they are advisors, they have to nurture the SMEs, especially in the area of corporate governance and what. Corporate Affairs Commission aligns itself with this initiative, but very accessible. Our services have been upgraded to world-class standards, and then we are just happy about it. Thank you.
All right, final word from the regulators of the investors.
Thank you very much. National Pension Commission is a consultative regulator in the financial system, and we're always available to work with other relevant stakeholders to ensure that pension funds are actually directed towards social, economic, and financial development of our country. And we're open to consultations and suggestions. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone that has been bold enough to come to this panel and discuss the issues that have been discussed, because I think without an organ at the top, and you're still making certain commitments, it shows that at least we are on the right track and trying to achieve what we want to achieve, at least from our perspective. So I'd like to thank everyone here.
Yes, thank you very much. I think it's been a useful conversation, and hopefully the focus on tax has not taken away from what I think is a very laudable initiative by the stock exchange to provide a platform for emerging companies. And hopefully, as we work with the designated advisors and all the other authorities in Nigeria come together to make this work, hopefully we'll get a lot more companies listed on the NSE, perhaps more companies that will qualify for investment for pension funds, and then of course to all other investors who are looking for opportunities in Sub-Saharan Africa's second largest economy. Thank you very much. And I'll hand over to you.
Thank you very much. Please let's give the panelists a round of applause and the moderators as well. Thank you so much. We would like to now take you on a media journey to let you see what ASeM is really about. Can we roll?
The growth of small and medium-scale enterprises, SMEs, have been universally recognized as the main engine of economic growth and a major factor in promoting private sector development and partnership. The recent data undertaken by the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, and the National Bureau of Statistics put micro, small and medium businesses in Nigeria in the region of 17 million, contributing 45% of Nigeria's GDP and employing about 32 million people in the country. In spite of the widely acknowledged role of SMEs in fostering economic growth and development, they have continued to face diverse constraints. It defies thinking how many businesses and brightly conceived and nurtured ideas have been rendered nugatory on account of these constraints. Access to finance has been noted as one of the major challenges impeding the survival and growth of the SME sector in Nigeria and Africa at large. Financing the productive capacity of Nigeria's economy is critical to long-term economic success, as the country needs thriving and innovative enterprises to achieve its developmental goals. To accelerate development in the sector as well as further deepen the Nigerian capital market, the Nigerian Stock Exchange will support emerging businesses by attempting to narrow the undesirable gap in the sector and facilitate the flow of sustainable resources to enable SMEs raise long-term capital, operate better, and play their development role in the economy.
At the Stock Exchange, we're very excited today to be launching the ASeM board. This is our specialized board for small and medium-scale enterprises. We know that this sector really is the engine of growth in the Nigerian economy and indeed of most economies. It provides employment and all sorts of other benefits come from and growth factors come from the SMEs. So what we're doing in this board is to put together the platform to enable SMEs to access long-term capital. We are putting a number of support systems in place in the ASeM board. For instance, we have a suite of institutional services which help to strengthen governance, operations, and generally the corporate profile of our SMEs to better prepare them for their obligations as a listed company. So we have a company, we are working with Nexon Business Services, and Nexon Business Services will assist companies that we identify as viable prospects in our SME pipeline to beef up in areas where they might be lacking to better prepare them to join the board. Another area of support is the area of designated advisors. Every ASeM company is going to have a designated advisor. A DA is going to be a stockbroking firm, so they are licensed by the exchange. It's a broker-dealer firm, and these companies will be responsible for hand-holding our ASeM companies throughout their lifetime on the board. And what these designated advisors are responsible for is ensuring that they help these ASeM companies meet their continuing listing obligations. So everything it takes to be a listed company, from a regulatory point of view, the DA stands ready to help these companies ensure they meet their requirements, both to ourselves, to the apex regulator, the SEC, and generally to better position them for life as a listed company. In terms of providing support for our SMEs on the ASeM board, Another thing we are doing is to have growth ambassadors. This is also known as board champions. And what these are eminent individuals who have a track record in promoting entrepreneurship, who will help promote the board. So when we have activities or events such as today's launch of the ASeM market, or we have conferences around the country, SME conferences, we would invite our growth ambassadors to pitch in, to say something, provide some support, and put in a good word for ASeM and the work that we're trying to do with these companies. And also in their other engagements outside involvement with the stock exchange, wherever a chance comes up to talk about SMEs, smaller companies, and a platform for accessing capital to boost their operations, we would like them to talk about the ASeM market as well. Now, of course, there are other benefits from being listed as an ASeM company, quite apart from a greater access to capital. Many of our small businesses are, of course, family concerns, and there is the issue of what happens to these businesses after the major promoter or founder is no longer actively involved. So one thing that we really want to see companies do is consider the ASeM as a platform to even perpetuate their businesses, to provide continuity to their businesses, even when they are no longer directly involved in running those businesses. There's no reason why some of our companies today shouldn't be around, healthy, strong, maybe even main board at that time, 50, 100 years time, they're still going, because they started and they put structures in place that would help them continue well into the future.
Yeah, the number of benefits, for us in Mark Nichols listing our shares on the stock exchange. Number one, is that there is ease of expanding the business, because when you get listed, as a small business, it's much easier, for you to raise capital, as against raising money, from the banks. Listing for us unlocks the liquidity in our business. Some of my key shareholders said initially when they invested in Mark Nichols, they don't count their investment in Mark Nichols as part of their investment. But as soon as we got listed, they started putting it in the portfolio of their investments, because their liquidity has been unlocked. They can enter, and exit the investment at any point in time. I will encourage any small business that wants his business to be sustainable, that wants the business to outlive him, that wants to expand the business beyond what an individual could do, to list your shares on the stock exchange. It will make it easy, for you to raise more capital than you can raise as an individual.
The Nigerian Stock Exchange is committed to creating opportunities for the growth and institutionalization of SMEs in the country, as we believe that emerging companies need to be seen as an important engine driving the future of our economy. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the brand new alternative securities market, ASeM. ASeM, nurturing growth.
Your Excellency, is that done? I would now like to invite the representative of the Honorable Minister, State of Finance, to please come and say a few words about what we're here to do. Please let's give him a round of applause. Suleiman Tahir, Deputy Director.
My name is Tahir, ASeM Tahir. I'm here to represent the Honorable Minister of State Finance. He asked me to convey his goodwill message to this event, to commend the board and management of the NSE for organizing this forum, and to congratulate them and to assure them that the Federal Ministry of Finance is always in support of the growth and development of SMEs in Nigeria. I'm sure some of the stakeholders here will have attested to the contribution of the Federal Ministry of Finance particularly it's the major shareholder in all the DFIs, and also you add apart from that, it has made also with certain direct intervention, particularly under the National Economic Reconstruction Fund, NAFON. I think even when the place was getting manpower, I think back in as far back as 2010, fiscal year, I think a lifeline was given to the fund specifically for the support of the SMEs and the microfinance. Similarly, I think the same year 2010, a provision was made for the transport sector, and the infrastructure bank, formerly known as the Urban Development Bank, was appointed as the fund manager in the sum of 10 billion naira. And in January last year, an additional 15 billion naira under the Sure Fee program was added to the fund. That one was interest-free. The earlier one was a single-digit interest of 5%. And also under Sure Fee and You Win program, these are all programs as in specifically dedicated in support of the SME. So I would like to conclude by saying, on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Finance, thank you, NSE, thank you, participants and other stakeholders in this forum for sparing your valuable time, space to attend this program.
And just before we move on, I'd like to now invite Honorable Chris Emeka as a round of applause.
Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to stand before you on this auspicious occasion. I want to thank the Council and Management of the Nigerian Stock Exchange for today making history by doing what we call an inclusive policy. Mr. Oscar and the team today demonstrated an uncanny skill by trying to do what is needful in the economy. ASeM, as rightly proposed by you today or being introduced or launched today, is going to help the entire economy to drive towards self-sufficiency, especially in the area of job creation. The platform we have, which you've shown us today, have the capacity to help Nigerians or the business people in Nigeria to look for or to source for alternative capital that will drive investment, most especially for indigenous companies. Before now, we as the health chamber are always worried about the amount of capital for young entrepreneurs, mostly, and young industries. I believe that ASeM, as a product of Nigerian Stock Exchange, will go a long way to encourage investment in Nigeria by Nigerians. Government policy is always talking about foreign direct investment. But we have Nigerians that have money, but they don't have confidence of where to invest their money. Today, the platform you've created will make people that have access to funds to bring it up, while those who need it will have access to it, thereby creating a whole lot of job opportunities for Nigeria, creating a whole lot of services and supporting industries which will drive our economy. Because without this, everything we are talking about policy making is not going to work. And the panel threw up some things that we are going to take seriously. Because this is why, or one of the reasons why we participate in this kind of event, to identify where our laws are snagging. We are going to quickly look at the laws that concern the tax regulation. We're also looking at all the products that government have brought in, which are interventionist in nature, both the UN, every government project. Because when we follow the comprehensive nature of what ASeM is, it is going to entrench corporate governance, transparency, and considering that a lot of Nigerians are getting very educated, the entire business scheme in Nigeria is going to change. And I want to assure you that we in the National Assembly are open to make laws or to help modify laws. The laws making is a very dynamic business. As we need to make changes in the laws, we call upon you who are the players in the industry to come up with ideas for us to assist to make sure that the laws are operating in an environment that is acceptable to all of us. Most especially to protect Nigerians and Nigerian business environment, thereby making Nigeria to be among the first 20 industrialized nations or business or country economies to be looked upon in the next couple of years. I want to thank all of you for the privilege of witnessing this, especially NSC and your council, and we say we'll continue to partner with you. Thank you and God bless.
For your information, we have lunch prepared, and for those of you who are not fasting, we'd like you to wait behind and join us. For those of us not fasting, we are ready to do justice to it. I'd like to bring the ED of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, please, come make a presentation.
Thank you very much. We're just recognizing the two growth ambassadors we have here today. So I'll quickly go through the reason or the thinking behind growth ambassadors. The Nigerian Stock Exchange is introducing growth ambassadors for the alternative securities market to play the role of board champions who are primarily influencers and advocates for SMEs and entrepreneurial development. They are accomplished, eminent personalities who understand the workings of the capital market and are able to exert influence through advocacy for SMEs in general, as well as project the benefits of listing on the ASeM board. They will provide support and those and promote growth of SMEs in Nigeria through the alternative securities market, ASeM. Growth ambassadors will attend ASeM events as convenient and make short interventions supporting the idea of listing small businesses on ASeM and growing small businesses in general. They will also advocate for the ASeM board at other events in which they will participate as they consider appropriate. May I please invite the CEO of Nigerian Stock Exchange, Mr. Oscar Onyema, to make presentations to the two growth ambassadors that are present today. May I please invite the two growth ambassadors that are present here today, Ms. Florence Seriki and Jason Joku. Round of applause for them.
Engineer Florence Seriki is the Group Managing Director, CEO of Comatech Computers, a Nigerian computer manufacturing company reputed to own the first completely knocked down computer factories in Nigeria and Ghana. She obtained her bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from the University of Ife, otherwise known as Obafemi Awolowo University, and also holds a master's in business administration from the Lagos Business School. She's a renowned entrepreneur that has received several awards for her innovation in the Nigerian IT industry and her contributions towards the improvement of IT awareness in Nigeria. Mrs. Florence Seriki, MFR.
Can we have a round of applause?
Jason Njoku is the founder and CEO of Iroko Partners, the largest digital distributors of Nigerian music and movies, with a library of over 1,600 licensed movies. Mr. Njoku's Iroko Partners consists of 5 web brands. And he holds a BSc in chemistry from the University of Manchester and an MBA from Manchester Business School. He is a globally renowned entrepreneur who has been featured on Forbes magazine's 10 Young African Millionaires to Watch list. Mr. Jason Njoku.
I think we'll probably have an acceptance speech from both of them, I guess, for a minute. Yeah.
While you're still there, I'd like to invite the representative of the Honorable Minister and then the Honorable member from the House to join them for a picture. And as we're taking that, I'd like to invite all right, so let's hear the lady first, and then we'll now have from the
Thank you very much. I actually was told to make sure I'm available today. I didn't know it's a certificate like this. I must sincerely say that this is a very good development. When the questions were going around, I wanted to wrap it up, but maybe now I'm still given the opportunity to contribute to the SMEs and the emerging market itself. What the stock exchange has started today, I hope and believe that if all of us understand what we're trying to do here, it will sincerely assist. A lot of people thought that for some of us to have gone to the stock market, I must be crazy. What do you leave for your children? Overtech is 26 years old. And I always say I do a lot of talks to women. I was still at the NECA AGM last week. Several SMEs. And I was telling the next man beside me that the people we know as SMEs might not be able to start now to afford even the advisory services. So the SMEs we're talking about start from the beginning. And if I'm to play a role in stock exchange, I would advise that we break out into short-term, mid-term, and long-term plan. And the sales department, and I'm happy it's headed by a woman, we should join her to enroll some salespeople to target the small ones that we're still teaching at lectures how to keep books and keep accountability of what they are doing, and target them towards growing them in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years. Then those that are medium, about to do all what we have discussed today, I was happy when I invited the CEO of the stock exchange to visit the new Overtech factory. He didn't understand why. If you remember the old banking, your account officer will visit you. They understand what you are doing. The problems of different businesses are different. They are not the same. I might not have a tax problem. I fought for tax incentive, but my problems might be different. So I also will let the medium ones, I want the sales department to target out to know these people, and we work towards sincerely bringing credible companies at ASeM to grow to the large companies. If we have large numbers of listed companies, it boosts the credibility of this country. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You want to say something? You know, when I saw his photograph, I thought it was a bouncer. You can say anything you want to say. Feel free.
Thank you. Firstly, thank you for having me. My business experience is very, very young compared to most of the distinguished people in this room. So thank you again for the initiative and thank you for having me. 3 years ago, I was a young Nigerian guy in a rural investor trying to figure out how to build a business. Over the last 3 years, I've at least been able to achieve some of my first goals and dreams. For me, I want to be part of the conversation about not necessarily those who are SMEs today, but those who can't even become SMEs. So the hundreds of thousands of young, largely unemployed Nigerians who graduate from university with no real options. So if we can at least create like an entrepreneurial SME class for those guys, I think I'd love to be part of that conversation. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Please give them a round of applause as they make their way back to their seats. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for staying to the end of our program. We trust that you've had a very enjoyable and informative morning with us. As you can see, I'm a woman, and I just want to assure all of us in the hall that as we go forward, this is just the beginning of the initiative under ASeM. And as we take all the ideas, we've got so many very interesting and brilliant ideas today from the floor, from the panel, and there's very much a sense of what happens next. Are we just having yet another series of conversations? The point has been made by one of the interventions that this really is, the stock exchange is acting as a catalyst. And we are going to do this in conjunction. All that needs to be done has to be done in partnership with so many organizations, many of whom we're glad were represented here today. So you can rest assured that you're going to be hearing a lot more from us on the ASeM program, a lot more involvement from women, youth, other groups who really do drive the SME sector in Nigeria. So that having been said, I just want to extend our thanks on behalf of the Nigerian Stock Exchange to the representative of the Minister of State for Finance for gracing our event today. Thank you very much, sir. And also for the representation by the Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Capital Markets. He has been here, they have both been here throughout our program, and we are grateful for their support. We'd like to thank also Sumidan. Sumidan, of course, is one of our partners in this initiative, as you've heard today. I'd like to thank the Director General, ably represented by his Director of Planning, for his very rich presentation and for joining us today. Thanks also to the rest of the panel, and I want to thank also our council members of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Many of whom were here earlier, some of them are still around. Thank you very much for your valuable support for this initiative. Key members of the Stock Exchange, our designated advisors also, who have provided very strong support, even in testing the concepts and in being ready and able for everything we do, and even for being here today. So thank you very much, dealing members. Now, the panel contained really those partners that we'll be working with. It was said in the CEO's presentation how advocacy is one of our major initiatives, both around ASeM and around everything else we do, because we understand, we know that we do not act in isolation for many of the things that we are trying to achieve in the capital market. So we thank all the agencies of government for their high-level representation today, for the FIRS, the CAC, the Financial Reporting Council. We also know that we have some state commissioners of commerce represented here and also physically present. We thank you very much for attending. In terms of our partners, we thanks also to Nexon Business Services who were on the panel. We're sure that after today, you're going to get even busier in terms of trying to work with some of our prospect SMEs. We also want to thank all those prospects that we've reached out to, and we're in continuing dialogue with them for gracing our event. Of course, I need to thank our able MC, Ali Baba, who took things along, and the head of and the moderator, co-moderator of our panel, Wale from CNBC. Thank you very much. We have great press coverage today, and we thank all the members of the press for their support. Last but not least, I have to thank all my colleagues at the NSE for making this possible today. This, of course, is a huge team effort. We have our ED Business Development was on the panel and gingered us all along to make sure that we produce this event today. We have our head of, we have our ED MOT and our head of our corporate division here. A lot happened behind the scenes in technology to ensure we have our ASeM index, and also our corporate comms who have really worked hard for this event, all under the corporate division. And of course our legal team also, who in terms of the ASeM rules and all the interaction with the SEC, we thank you very much indeed. We thank you too. We say a big thank you to all our colleagues at the NSE and the support that they have given us. So I say again that this is just the beginning. You can be sure that you're going to hear a lot more from us in the SME space. We are also learning as we go along. We've taken away a lot of valuable learnings from today. I thank you all very much for coming. And I wish you success in your businesses and a productive rest of the day. Thank you very much.
We would like you to just rise. Let's just end everything with the national anthem, and then we can continue with our lunch.
Taking home today is that NSE have created an alternative platform for funding of businesses or young businesses or developing businesses in the economy, and taking it away from the government, because government have no business doing business. What we are having now today is that a lot of people, businesses are looking for bank to borrow money, a lot of people are looking for government to give them loan for them to do their business. But today, there's a clear platform, and the platform also has educative input, whereby you must comply with some needed or laid down rules. Now today we're talking of IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standard, and other, corporate governance, which will entrench transparency. People will now have confidence to invest. Not just have money. Even some people took money out of the country and kept it and invested in some other place. But when you have a better place to put your money and you have a better channel for people to access the money, and there is a regulatory body that will checkmate the way companies are done in the country, like NSE. If you list as a company and you have your DA and you have compliance, do you understand? The money is not going to run away. Do you understand? So people will now bring in money, put it in the capital market, and you go to access the money, and when they have it, they are guaranteed that their money, their investment will not disappear. What we're trying to do is to create an enabling environment, and NSE have done that. Before now, the capital market failed because people didn't have the right information. And also now we are having advisors, dealing advisors or whoever. There are tax laws that are favorable for investors, but they are not known to the people. The law is already made, but our ignorance about what is available. If you ask Sariki, there are moratoriums or incentives that are available. Some of them have vanished. It's out of ignorance that people do not know. But if you are knowledgeable enough and you do in-depth research, you will know that there are some. But we as lawmakers, lawmaking is a dynamic process. It's not definite, it's not sacrosanct. If there's need to amend the laws, which are the tax laws, we are going to. And also, the issue that was raised about multiplicity of taxes and levies between local governments, these are things we need to look into and try to advise people that harmonize it. And which is the issue of joint tax board.
The ASeM launch is really targeted at small and medium enterprises that are interested in accessing capital markets. What we've done is to change our listing rules to introduce new things such as designated advisors, growth ambassadors, and institutional services to help them be better businesses, because we want to support good businesses in the exchange. So today what we've done is to bring in a group of companies that meets the definition of small and medium enterprises that also have what it takes to be listed on the stock exchange. At the end of the day, what we're really interested in is to help companies to be the next growth champions in the African continent, what we call the African champion. What the thinking around it is that we noticed that a number of the companies that were listed on the second-tier market had challenges meeting our post-listing standards. Good corporate governance, reporting of financials, and the like. So what we did was we said, okay, let's get designated advisors that are market professionals, that are members of the exchange, that will work with each listed company in the ASeM market to meet our post-listing standards and also to help themselves be better businesses. It is mandatory that every company that's listed on the ASeM board would have one designated advisor at the minimum, and that advisor will stay with them throughout the duration of their listing. And once they graduate to the main board, they don't need to have a designated. When we spoke last year, the numbers we gave you were for last year.
Right.
And a number of factors affected the ability of companies to list, even though some of them publicly announced that they were going to list and then ended up backing up. The secondary markets have been strong year-to-date. I believe the year-to-date numbers in terms of growth is over 17% for the NSE All-Share Index. So we think that the confidence level is getting there, where you will begin to see fresh companies come into the marketplace. Typically, you will see existing companies doing capital raises, secondary capital raises. Owando had a successful, oversubscribed rights issue. We have the UAC REITs that promises to be oversubscribed as well. So we're beginning to see exciting things that should give the confidence that is needed for fresh companies to access the marketplace. At the end of the day, the companies that have indicated interest in listing on the exchange really are looking for the right valuations.
Right.
And I believe that once they find valuations that they believe are good for them, we should see them in the marketplace. Because most of them have already gone through some of the things that they need to go through in order to qualify to list on the exchange. Okay. Yeah, I mean, for this year, we've put out a robust list of things we'd like to deliver. We've already delivered retail bond trading platform. We delivered the iPortal. It's a portal for issuers to submit financials in an electronic
which is already
format.
working.
It's already working.
Seen that impact
over
already.
83% usage rate. Today we've launched ASeM. We hope to see a lot of activity there. The next big thing, I would think, is third quarter, the launching of our new trading platform.
Yeah.
Between now and the third quarter, we hope to roll out a number of things, but there will be ongoing things, new companies, ETFs, and the like. But at the end of the day, we're not just doing launches for the sake of doing launches. We are really looking to put in place a very robust market infrastructure that supports capital raising, that supports the creation of durable wealth for both issuers and investors.